Tiffany Stratton humiliates Charlotte Flair on SmackDown. Introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, we dive into one of the most shocking, unexpected, and downright humiliating moments in recent WWE history. A night on SmackDown where the self-proclaimed center of the universe, Tiffany Stratton, not only stood toe-to-toe with the Queen herself, Charlotte Flair, but left her embarrassed, humiliated, and questioning her own place at the top of WWE's women's division. This wasn't just another segment. This wasn't just another promo battle. This was a statement, a declaration, a bold and unapologetic moment where Tiffany Stratton showed the world that she isn't just the future, she's the now. But how exactly did Tiffany Stratton pull off such a shocking humiliation against one of the most decorated superstars in WWE history? Tonight, we're breaking down everything, from the build-up, to the SmackDown showdown, to the aftermath that has fans, analysts, and even other superstars buzzing with disbelief. So buckle up, because this is the story of how Tiffany Stratton humiliated Charlotte Flair on SmackDown. The build-up, the seeds of this humiliation didn't just appear overnight. Tiffany Stratton has been on a rapid rise, and her confidence has grown with every step she's taken. From NXT to SmackDown, her brand of arrogance mixed with undeniable athleticism has caught the eye of fans worldwide. But when you call yourself the center of the universe, when you strut around claiming that everyone else is beneath you, it's only a matter of time before you run into someone who doesn't like it. Enter Charlotte Flair, the Queen, the measuring stick, the 14-time women's champion. A woman who has built her entire career on dominance, on prestige, and on proving that no one can outshine her. It started simple enough. Charlotte dismissing Tiffany during a backstage interview, saying she hadn't earned the right to be called the center of anything. Flair reminded the world that she was the backbone of the women's division, the one who has carried the company, and that women like Tiffany were simply living off the opportunities created by her hard work. Tiffany didn't take that lightly. She fired back, mocking Charlotte's legacy, saying the only reason Charlotte had all those title reigns was because WWE keeps hitting the restart button every time she loses. Tiffany questioned Charlotte's relevancy, hinting that maybe Flair's era was over, and it was time for someone younger, fresher, and simply better, like herself, to take the spotlight. And so the stage was set. SmackDown promoted a face-to-face confrontation between the two, hyping it as a generational clash, the established queen against the brash new star. But no one expected what would unfold. The showdown on SmackDown. The SmackDown crowd was buzzing as Charlotte Flair made her way to the ring first. The Queen looked confident, regal as always, with that trademark Flair arrogance dripping off her every step. She was ready to put Tiffany back in her place, to remind her, and the WWE Universe, why she's called the Queen. But then Tiffany's music hit. The lights flashed, the entrance glittered in pink, and Tiffany Stratton made her way to the ring, strutting with that smug grin that has quickly become her signature. You could feel the shift in the arena. Some fans booed her arrogance, others cheered her bravado, but everyone was watching. Inside the ring, microphones in hand, the two women stood face to face. Charlotte wasted no time. She started the verbal battle, tearing into Tiffany with her experience, her championships, and her family legacy. She called Tiffany a spoiled brat playing wrestler, mocking her pink outfits and Instagram-ready personality. She reminded her that being in the WWE ring wasn't about fashion, wasn't about glitter, it was about dominance, and nobody has dominated like Charlotte Flair. But Tiffany didn't back down. Not even for a second. Her response cut deeper than anyone expected. Tiffany smirked and said, "Charlotte, you're not the Queen. You're a knockoff. You're your daddy's cosplay. You've been handed everything since day one, and you're terrified that someone like me, someone younger, prettier, and way more talented, is going to take your crown and actually make it mean something." The crowd gasped. Charlotte tried to brush it off, but Tiffany wasn't finished. She mocked Charlotte's multiple title reigns, saying, "Congratulations on being a 14-time champion. Do you know what that really means? It means you've lost 14 times. It means every time you fail, WWE has to give you another chance just so you don't cry about it." The crowd roared, and for once, Charlotte looked shaken. But Tiffany didn't stop there. She leaned in, lowering her voice just enough to make it sting, and said, "You're not a queen. You're a placeholder. And the only reason you're still here is because WWE doesn't know how to tell you that your time is up. The humiliation. This wasn't just a war of words anymore, it was a dismantling. Tiffany wasn't just insulting Charlotte. She was exposing her. The cameras caught Charlotte's face. For the first time in years, she didn't look confident. She didn't look unshakable. She looked rattled. And Tiffany saw it. Sensing the shift, Tiffany decided to go for the kill. She pulled out a prop, a fake plastic crown, dripping in glitter and rhinestones. She held it up, smirked, and said, "Here, Charlotte. This suits you better. Cheap, fake, just like your reign." Then, in front of the live SmackDown audience, Tiffany placed the crown on Charlotte's head, mocking her, treating her like a joke. The arena erupted. Some fans laughed, others booed, but everyone knew they were witnessing something historic. Charlotte ripped the crown off and got in Tiffany's face, but before she could react, Tiffany slapped her across the face. The sound echoed through the arena. And then, Tiffany dropped her with her finisher. The Queen was down, on live television, laid out flat by the self-proclaimed center of the universe. Tiffany stood tall, posing over Charlotte, blowing kisses to the audience, as the commentary team screamed in disbelief. It was humiliation in its purest form. Not just because Tiffany got the last word, but because she embarrassed Charlotte Flair on every possible level, verbally, emotionally, and physically. The aftermath. Backstage, the WWE universe was buzzing. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #Tiffany Stratton and #Charlotte Flair immediately began trending. Fans were divided. Some were outraged that Charlotte had been humiliated like that. Others were praising Tiffany for finally saying what many had been thinking, that Charlotte's dominance had grown stale, and it was time for someone new to take the spotlight. Other superstars reportedly reacted too. Bayley tweeted out a popcorn emoji, clearly enjoying Charlotte's downfall. Becky Lynch took a subtle shot, writing, "Ouch. That had to hurt." Even Rhea Ripley chimed in, hinting that she had no sympathy for Charlotte getting knocked down a peg. But perhaps the biggest fallout came from Charlotte herself. Reports suggest that she was livid backstage, demanding a rematch, demanding revenge, demanding that Tiffany be put in her place. But here's the kicker. Tiffany doesn't seem interested in playing by Charlotte's rules. She's not chasing her approval. She's not intimidated by her legacy. She's rewriting the narrative entirely. And that's why this moment matters. Why this humiliation changes everything. For years, Charlotte Flair has been the standard bearer of WWE's women's division. She's been the measuring stick, the queen, the one everyone else is compared to. But on SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton proved something. She doesn't need to be compared to Charlotte. She doesn't need to live in her shadow. She can humiliate her, outshine her,